Hey there, YouTube coin community. It's Dustin with CoinOp. I am here at the Greater Cincinnati Numismatic Exposition, and I am right now talking to Mr. Brian Rains. Now, Brian Rains, if you're a member of any of the Facebook groups, I'm sure you have seen him in the Facebook groups. If you've been in the coin world for any period of time, chances are you probably know who he is. Brian has a very solid reputation, and he is known for being an expert on many various things. I know him as being a Morgan Dollar expert, a VAM variety expert, and all of that, but you're a full-on expert on multiple things. So, how are you doing, Brian?
I'm having fun today.
You enjoying the show?
Picking and grinning.
Did you find any good cherry picks while you were out here?
Yeah, I found a nice BU 41 double die reverse quarter, 1852 3-cent silver with 1 over inverted 2, nice early dice date, very fine. 1867 missing leaf shield nickel.
That's cool.
An 1868 variety 3 shield nickel with the retained cud, which I hadn't seen.
Never seen that myself.
And I don't know, I found quite a bit.
So how long have you been in the coin world for?
I started collecting coins when I was 6, back about, I think I might want to retrace that, somewhere between 67 and 70s when I started. And started get pretty heavy into it quickly. There was a dealer downtown named Lawson Contact, and he had Premier Coin and Stamp. And my dad would take me to do he would drop off his jewelry repairs at the Thomas Building downtown in Indianapolis. And in the same building was a coin shop, and he'd drop me off there, and I'd go through stuff and buy stuff. And I learned a lot from Lawson Contact. He's a very pleasant, patient, honest man, and I learned a lot from him. One of my favorite stories that I learned from him was I found a 36S RPM1 nickel. It's super slider in his coins. And I was so excited, and I wanted to show it to him. AU58 was $1.35, and I show it to him, and he says, "Well, you know, Brian, that's really neat. I'm really excited for you, and I got something I have to tell you. Now, if you ever find anything in my stuff ever again, and for that matter, anyone else's stuff, you just keep it to yourself and just enjoy it."
Yep.
There's several reasons for that. One, I might think you're trying to rub my face in it. And I know you're not like that. But somebody else may not think the same thing. So you just keep it to yourself. And the second reason is, from then on, I'm going to look for it, and you're not going to find it.
Yep.
So whatever you find, keep it to yourself and just enjoy it. And with that, he let me buy that coin.
And actually, that is really great advice. If you're a cherry picker, if you enjoy going to coin shops and looking through the stock, looking for the stuff that the dealers have missed, double dies, repunched mint marks, overdates, misplaced dates, various mint errors that the dealer might have missed, it is what he just said. There is an etiquette to it. And part of that etiquette is not to rub that into the dealer's face. If you manage to cherry pick something out of a coin shop and you come back, even just because you're happy about it, to tell a dealer, I know if I ended up selling you a coin for $1 in my store and you came back in a couple days later showing me the same coin and I find out it's worth a couple $100, I'm not going to be mad at you, but I'm going to be very mad at myself for selling that coin. And it creates a hassle. So etiquette-wise, best just keep it to yourself, like Mr. Rains just explained. You published it all?
The only things I've gotten officially published, I helped Kevin Flynn do quite a few of his books. I edited, I supplied a bunch of coins, I co-authored one book, the first edition of the Treasure Hunting Walking Liberty Half Dollars.
Oh,
and
it's actually a good book.
I wish I could have redone that book because I found quite a few more. There's another 18S double die obverse half, the 29S double die reverse half didn't make it in there. There's an 18S with a really great clash. It looks like a huge extra rail in the center.
Oh, that's really cool.
And in circulated grades, it looks like an extra ray.
That is really cool.
Love doing shows. I love meeting people. One of the things I like about what I do is I love teaching. There have been a number of people, especially kids, that come to my table. I put on a clinic. I show them hands-on learning. This is what a double die is. This is what a clip is. This is a double strike. And I teach them the mechanical process of how this happens. And then I can put it in their hands, and it's burnt into their memory. They're not going to finish. They're not going to forget it when I'm finished with it.
Well, that's how I noticed with myself, and then with CoinOp, with questions that I get from people, is newer people, when they first start looking for double dies, very often confuse mechanical doubling, strike doubling, whatever you want to call it, die deterioration, all these various things as double dies when they're not. And for me, when I got into collecting double dies, I did the same mistakes. I was pulling everything aside that had any kind of a doubled image on it, which most of them were not double dies, and it took me finding my very first real double die to be able to distinguish. Until I saw it in hand, you couldn't explain it to me. I'm a hands-on learner though, so, but yeah, so I love that you do that. You do the little workshop showing them the difference between what's real, what's not.
Oh, I love to get people at my table who they don't know much about double dies. I get the kind, I'll pull out some of my foreign double dies and they go, oh, I don't care about errors. Or they say, oh, I don't want anything to do with foreign. And I said, well, let me just show you a few. And once I do, I just love to watch the reaction on their faces, because some of my Indian double dies, my German or Brazilian double dies they're so amazing.
My favorite are the people who say they're not into errors, and then you show them something like a bonded coin error, and the same thing, that it's mind-blowing just to know that made it out of the mint without being smuggled. Came out in mint sewn bag or whatever. But it's mind-blowing to realize that these things do escape the mint. They are out there. And some of them can be very valuable, like the bonded coin errors I was just talking about. Those can be extremely valuable, depending on what they are. Well, Brian,
I didn't even get to touch on VAMs.
Oh, well, let's talk about some VAMs real quick.
I've got a 1879S project that I'm working on, but I started back sometime in '88. There was a guy named Joe Steger who was a friend of mine. He was a member of the Akron Coin Club. We bonded real quick at a coin club meeting, and boy, did we have a lot of common. He found a 65 double die in change in Akron area, and he had loads of extra copies of old Aeroscopes, Error and Nibbles, Error Trends Collectors magazines, and I bought a massive quantity of information from him, and I became a sponge. I would just sit and read and read and read, and I burned this stuff into my memory so that when I went out, I was armed to the teeth. I didn't have to bring any books with me. And I still have to talk about one of my first shows that I went to. It was one of the Cleveland independent shows, and Joe and I went to a show, and I had pictures of 4 coins to look for. One was a 39 quadruple die reverse nickel. The other was a 41 double beak quarter. The other was a 42D double die obverse quarter, and the last was a 46 double die reverse half. First table I go to, there's a nice white VU 41 double die quarter for $5, unattributed. Boom. Go down the row, and I found a 39 quadruple die reverse in BU for 60 cents. And I go around to the next aisle, and I can see the 42D double die quarter standing up at a distance of about 5 feet, because I had 20/10 vision. And my heart is just racing, and my palms are sweating, and I reached over and I picked it up and I looked at it, and it says AU55. It has no price on it. So I tossed it back on the table and I said, how much do you need for that? And he picks it up, pulls down his binocular magnifying glasses, and I thought it was going to have a coronary. And he's looking at it and looking at it and looking at it. And I'm going, oh man, I'm going to curse the day I got out of bed. I'm going to wish I'd never even been in this show. he's going to realize it's a double die. And he puts his glasses up, gets up his gray sheet, and he's looking at it, and I'm going, what's he looking on a gray sheet for? That's not on a gray sheet. Then he picks it back up and he goes, how's $4.50? I couldn't get a $5 bill out of my pocket quick enough. I was so excited, I couldn't focus anymore. I tried to look at the rest of his coins, but I was just out of my mind with excitement, but trying to be poker faced at the same time. And I got my change. I go get my buddy Joe, and I'm telling him all about it. He goes, oh, that's neat, Brian. We need to go. I said, we can't go now. There's a guy over there that's got some 46 halves. I've been waiting on him all day. And he says, oh, okay, well, we'll go look at him. So I go over to the table, and I said, can I see your 46 halves? He said, oh, yeah, you can have them for $10. I said, no, I'm not trying to get you down on the price. I just want to look at them. He said, you can have them for $10. So I flip them over, and I see one this far from my face, a four-legged eagle, and I said, I'll take it. So that was quite a day. That's
a very profitable day.
That was my first show. That was sometime, I think, in the fall. Prior to that, I'd been hitting shops all over the place, just finding all kinds of stuff, errors and double dies and misplaced dates. The only thing I wished I'd have learned was to learn more.
Yeah.
Study more. The more you know, the better off you are.
And the cool thing with our hobby is if you enjoy learning, if you enjoy studying about this stuff, it's never ending. You can learn everything that you can about one type of coin, and then you move on to the next, but no matter what you think you know, there's still something else out there you don't know. And then there's the whole world of coinage from 700 BC with the dagger coin still current. So there's more out there than you can learn in a lifetime when it comes to the coin world. So you're always learning if you want to be in this hobby. If you don't want to be, well, it's like anything else, you can just shut off and retain what knowledge you already do have, but I strongly recommend learning.
I don't want him to get away.
Okay.
What you learn in the coin business, as you study errors and varieties, will help you down the road. Because by studying the genuine, you learn how to spot counterfeits and alterations.
Real fast.
I've learned a lot. I found a lot of really, really high quality fake cents, 2 cents. I found a 42/1 Mercury dime at the A&A. It was in the stack. The guy had a stack of 42/1s. Top coin in the piles, nice AU. And I pick it up and I look at it and go, this is counterfeit. And I'm telling the dealer, I said, you don't know me from Adam, but I'm telling you, I just read the article, and this coin is a die-struck counterfeit, and you really shouldn't put this coin back out, because if you sell it, somebody's going to realize it's fake, and they're going to come back after you.
Yeah.
So it's just not worth the time. And he pretended like he looked at the coin, and he was going to put it on his back table so it wouldn't be put back out. I started to walk away, and something made me turn around and look at it. And I watched him put it back on the pile. And I saw another guy at another show down in, I don't know, if it might have been I can't remember what it was. It was a show in the South. And I remember showing him, looking at one of his Indians, high-grade key date, and I told him, I really hate to tell you this, but this coin is a die-struck counterfeit. And he picked it up and went, really? And he put his loop to it. He tore it out of the holder. He put it in another flip, and he put it in a counterfeit book right then and there.
Yeah,
that's
what a good dealer
integrity.
does. That's what you should do.
That cost him a lot of money to do that on the spot, because he paid a chunk of money for it. I remember a show I went to in Gallipolis here in Ohio, and I picked up an 1867 2-cent piece, and it was a high-grade coin. I went, wait, this is die-struck counterfeit. Hey, if this is counterfeit, I started looking at his key date Indians. They were all counterfeit. Oh, man. And I took him aside and I said, you know, I really hate to tell you this, but somebody's burned you. There's a lot of really fairly decent counterfeits, but I caught every one of them. All of your key dates in here, they're all counterfeit. And he was very gracious, and his eyesight was failing, and somebody really took him for a ride. And he appreciated me showing him. Some people, on the other hand, have gotten really mad at me for showing him counterfeits. I found some in various and sundry third-party grading holders, all of them. I found them in every grading service. Some of these die-struck counterfeits are amazing. There are some trade dollars that I saw recently that I don't know who made them. They're not Chinese. They're way better than anything.
With the amount of fakes with trade dollars, I personally just stay away from trade dollars because it seems like every time I turn around, there's some high-end fake that I'm reading about that's a trade dollar that.
But there's just so much to learn in this hobby. Learning about telling genuine errors from fake errors. There are some really good fake errors out there. The double dies and VAMs, I'm able to tell them right on the spot. But another error dealer showed me a pile of counterfeit errors, and I could not tell how they were made.
Really?
They were multi-strikes and double struck, and they were fantastic. The quality was unbelievable, and I could not tell anybody how to tell them apart because they were so good. You've probably heard it from others. Go buy the Cherry Picker's Guides. Go buy the Strike It Rich with Pocket Change.
Those are the two biggest ones I recommend.
I love those books. There's a lot of information in there telling you the difference. But some of the best difference it might make is actually buying some double dies so that you can have them in hand and compare them to machine doubling and die deterioration doubling.
And as he's saying about that, there are some really strong double dies that you can get very inexpensive. For example, I was talking about it earlier, a 1995 double die. You can get an uncirculated 1995 double die. It's a very strong, naked eye, obvious double die to me. And you can get them $10, $15 in a low unk. So you can get them fairly cheap. And once you have one, you will never, and I say this all the time to people, once you find one true double die, you will never mistake mechanical doubling or die deterioration as a true double die ever again. So if you own one, you're good.
I remember teaching, a guy came to my table at the Baltimore show, and he would constantly bring me die deterioration doubling and machine doubling. And I said, I'm going to teach you a lesson you're never going to forget. I just left a table where I left a double die there because I have quite a few of them. I'm only going to tell you the date, and I'm going to tell you the denomination, but there's a row of about 50 of them, and only one is a double die, and you're going to find it. Because I'm going to sit here, I'm going to teach you the principles between a true double die and machine doubling and die deterioration. And I'm going to send you on your own hunt so that you can go find them with the information I just gave you. Well, about half an hour later, he comes back, he puts it on the table, and he said, is this it? And I said, now you know, and I don't have to teach you anymore. You know the difference.
That's a great lesson there. That's awesome.
It was so much fun to be able to help him see it on his own. I don't have to fish for him. He can go out and fish now because he knows what he's looking for.
You're on 1 bar battery.
Okay. The camera's about to die. Well, all right. Well, everybody. Brian Rains.
I didn't even go into the VAMs.
No, it's okay. We've got more interviews with other people, so a lot more stuff for you to see. All right. Thank you, Brian. Okay, cut that.